Okay, my beauties, welcome to the How She Got Free podcast. I am Athena Llewellyn, and I am so stoked to have Renee Zukin with us here today. Renee is an author, a mental health advocate. She's a coach. She's a Reiki practitioner. She is a full, multi-dimensional artist, woman, mother, healer, writer, and she has given the world the most amazing gift of this incredible book that she has just released. Every Day I'm Brave. So, welcome, Renee. I'm so honored to have you here.
Thank you. It is a complete honor to be here. I love being in your spaces. I love having these conversations with you that always, bring about such important and fun and meaningful, connections out there in the world. This work that we're doing is no joke.
Totally. It is no joke, right? Even though we're funny,
Yeah.
I and looks aren't everything, but we keep it light because I think you and I have this in common where we get kind of deep, right? We get kind of deep and we can go into some really dark places. And so, there's a lightness to that. And there's also this real kind of sober density to it as well. And
Mm,
I just so honor, Renee, the way that you are able to be real and intimate with
thank
life
you.
as it is. And it has, okay, I mean, I'm fangirling over here because I've just received so much from our ongoing, relationship, and let's let the listeners get a taste of what it is. So let's start with the book, right?
Yeah.
Every Day I'm Brave. Tell me what inspired, why write this book?
Because the book told me it needed to be written. That's that's the real answer.
I hear that.
The nudge. It was a long journey to, of course, get to this point. Um, I had been writing about the journey of, you know, relationship to fear and, doing the personal work and the deep stuff that you were mentioning, right? That the density and the lightness together in one. And what was true for me is like over a decade, I would write bits and pieces and I would be like, oh, someday this will be a book, someday this will be a book, right? And that nudge just got louder and louder until about 3 years ago. It was so obviously time. Um, and for anybody out there who's been thinking about writing a book, if you're not doing it yet, there's probably a real good reason.
Mm.
And for me, I had to stop beating myself up for not having done it yet
Ooh,
because I wasn't the person who needed to write the ending yet.
wow.
Yeah. And you can't know this. You can't know this on the journey, right?
It's so meta.
I know
I
we're
write the book, or did the book write me? I feel that. So,
yeah.
okay, so let's open that up. Let's unpack that a little bit.
Mm,
So, for anyone who doesn't know out there, this is a book that is both a memoir and like a practical guide. So, it is a memoir of your experience dealing with really intrusive thoughts, right? Intrusive thoughts that come in the form or diagnosed as OCD, right? Or anxiety. And we would umbrella that as fear, right?
right. Yes.
Scary. things.
Very,
Things
very things.
create that kind of contraction and in us.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's your journey dealing with that. And then it's, because you're such an incredible coach, this natural hand extension out to help other people
Yeah.
on their path of unpacking their fear and going forth anyway, right?
Hmm.
And you just said that, the book has been like the stories have been coming forth. This is your life that has been crystallizing as you live it.
Yes.
And you just said something so meta and profound. You said, I wasn't the woman who could write the end yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we go into
And I
that?
want to give a hat tip to another writer, Megan Walrod, because she also just put out a novel, which is incredible. And I was at her book talk and she said something very similar. And so I want to make sure that I give her, because as soon
Oh,
as it came out of her mouth, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's it.
yeah. Yeah.
And I knew that instinctively because there were parts of the book. I mean, the ending of the book is some of the more recent stories
Mhm.
um, from a couple of years ago. So obviously they couldn't have been written because
Right.
because specifically those experiences hadn't happened yet. But that key piece of we can get really hard on ourselves for not doing the things we say we want to do. And sometimes it's just not time yet.
Yeah. I'm just
So
I'm
have
just
a
letting
little
the
grace.
word
Yeah, it's
like
we
they feel
can't do
so
it
good.
all, everything at once.
They feel so good, right? Sometimes it's just not time yet, and I think that's kind of part of anxiety because, I deal with anxiety. Like
Know anybody who doesn't
raise your
on
hand
a
if you're
scale.
out there and you have also um and a big part of that sometimes is, you know, we're visionaries. We see where we want to go. We want it, and then we're like, I'm not there.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
And so I really hear you speaking to this like self-compassion and also a little realisticness.
Yes,
Like just because you can see it,
right.
like we're getting to become quantum creators.
Yes,
Um, but we're still, tesseracting here. We still have to wrinkle time and
indeed.
so
That's acting. I love it.
right, it takes time. And gosh, what is time? What are the metaphysics of time? Maybe all it is just the thing that allows us to make the art,
Mm,
to raise the kids,
right.
get married and divorced, to have the
Right.
experiences, to do the things,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it's
can
the playground with which we get to play.
I like that.
Yeah.
Time is my
Sometimes it doesn't feel like a playground. Sometimes it feels like a dark dungeon, but.
Yeah, well, I can remember times being on the playground and it feeling
Mm,
like a welcoming place, and so let's get into that, because I know you deal a lot with the mind space, right? And so, you know, what are because reading the book, and I've known Renee now for, I don't know, 3-ish plus years, maybe more. Um, and Renee is, I mean, you're kind of one of the coolest people I know. She just has that je ne sais quoi about her, and
one to no one.
well, yeah. But really, she's just like this amazing woman to be around. You make every room feel like lighter and more fun. and to read the book and to really get this inside look at what you're navigating on a consistent basis just gave me a whole new level of awe and respect for you, right? Because it's like, it's true. We don't know what people are navigating. We really don't, right?
Yeah.
So, will you talk to us a little bit about, showing up for the dreams, even when it doesn't
Mm.
feel like good?
Yes, I'm happy to talk about that. And, one of the things that's true is the vision with which, the outer world sees and interacts, that you interact with other people. You saying you don't always know, what other people are carrying, right? And it's 100% true, no matter who you are. And in the mental health spaces, right, there's a term called masking that I talk a little bit about in my book.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, and masking, just like the word kind of sounds, is like, you put this mask on to do the daily life, to be with the people, that's one way. There's a couple different ways the terminology is used depending on your diagnosis. But for me, there's this push-pull relationship with the masking, right? What happens, if you are constantly masking, if you're always hiding, like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, this is really hard for me, I'm overwhelmed, my brain is on fire, whatever it is, right? If you're doing that all the time, it can lead to even bigger problems, right? So making sure this is actually part of your self-care, especially if you're a big dreamer and visionary.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean self-care like go get a pedicure. If you want to do that, great. And it's really, how are we caring for our nervous system?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's
And
huge.
so for me, it was finding these tools to be able to come back to myself, to be able to fully express, have the ways in which I can release the fear, get shows up in many different ways. But the other thing that's true is sometimes the pressure to mask, especially with anxiety, can
Mm-hmm.
cause it to move and change. So by me feeling like, okay, I can show up in this space, even if I'm anxious. I mean, we'll just kind of giggle, right? Right before we hopped on to do this, like all the feels, a little anxiety, like things, and we did a little grounding and it
Mm-hmm.
changed everything.
Mm.
But if I would have said, hey, Athena, I'm too anxious, I can't do this right now, and let that part win,
Right.
then I wouldn't have had the opportunity to move it, to express it, and to then, now be able to move on and have this amazing conversation with you. And so that really is the key, I feel, and
Mm.
is we have to be able to show up as we are, right? It's not shameful that I came into this Zoom room and said, whoo, what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, she's, whatever. And if
Yeah,
you
but
are,
life.
that's your problem, not me. Right? But that fear of judgment and the shame of like, oh, I should have it all together. Nobody has it all together. We're all carrying something.
Do you hear that, everyone?
Nobody. Nobody has it all together. So don't wait.
Yeah.
Don't wait until the fear is gone, because it's not going anywhere.
Oh my God. Hallelujah. I felt that in my whole body. It's like it's not going anywhere.
Going
So
anywhere.
keep going.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. You're so badass. You are so badass. Because I think sometimes we mistake courage for fearlessness,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, like children are. Like I have a toddler and she knows no fear because she hasn't really been hurt, right? And so all you kids listen out there, listen, it's gonna happen to you.
Wait.
You're gonna get scared. But life does this beautiful thing, right? And then it's okay, how do we continue to show up even when we've been hurt, even when we fell down, even when we were betrayed, even
Yep.
when it didn't work out, even when it's like, because now those thoughts turn into like it's like you've got a lawyer in your brain. I should speak for myself. I have like
Oh,
a really good lawyer in my brain that's like, these are all the reasons this isn't gonna work. Look at all these times, right? We have the full file here. We've kept it right at the forefront,
yeah.
you know?
Yep.
And so the rewiring of that too, right? Because I think you and I are both also really interested in the realm of story, like
Mm-hmm.
storytelling, but also what are the stories that we tell ourselves
Yep.
and that make up who we are and what we're
Yep.
capable of.
Yeah. 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 I mean, up until, a handful of years ago, the story I told myself was I was a person who is never going to fly in an airplane. I'm never going to be able to, sit at a restaurant with my family and order something and not, and be able to eat it. Details in the book. I'm
Mhm.
going to, I'm this person. I'm never going to be able to live a life that I really want to
Right.
because I have anxiety and because I experience OCD and because.
Right.
And fear made my life smaller and smaller and smaller, I was stuck, and I was left with just a couple of options. Either live this sad, miserable, lonely life or do something about it. Right? Take
Uh,
that ounce of hope
yeah.
that, was underneath the muck. Get yourself some people who are throwing down the lifelines and can help pull you out so that, you can dust off your knees and take the next step and the next step. I mean, this
Mm,
was a process.
yeah. Yeah.
It is a process. Do, and I say this all the time, like I'm not fixed. I'm not healed,
Right.
but I'm a lot better off than I was. And
Mm,
my hope is that the legwork that I've been able to do, the teachers that I've learned from, the therapists, the different, you know, tools that I now carry, my hope is that legwork makes the journey shorter for somebody else.
yeah.
Because it's changing the narrative.
Hmm.
I became somebody who, designed a life I love.
Hmm.
I get to do the things that I want to do,
Hmm.
not without fear, not without trepidation, not that, I'm like, oh, how can I? But then you show up anyway and you're rewarded for it. Because then I get to hang out with people like you.
Right. We got to hang out in real life,
Yeah.
in real places,
Mm-hmm.
California and Sedona. I'm so grateful that you chose the, sometimes I love what you said here. Sometimes it's the smaller voice too. It's the littler pieces of evidence, right? It's not the blaring narrative, right? It's like, oh, but there's this one little sliver here. And to hold on to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where our free will comes in. That's where we become creators of our lives.
Mhm.
right? Rather than victims of it or bystanders of it. And
Yep.
I hear in the book, in Every Day I'm Brave, I hear when I'm speaking to you this path of becoming a creator
Mm.
and not letting anything really stand in the way of your expression, your joy, like being the woman that you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that reflection. And it's, it continues the becoming,
Yeah.
each next level of it. And so, I'm standing here now enjoying the view of this plateau.
Hmm.
I know it's just a matter of time until the next
Yeah.
journey begins,
Yeah.
but I'm ready for it,
Hmm.
more
Yeah.
ready than I've ever been. And I'm willing to be, and I'm a willing participant in creating that next thing.
Yes. Yes. And I just love how you speak to the I'm not fixed, and because it also sounds like I'm not broken.
Right.
There's kind of an obsession in our culture of fixing,
Mm-hmm.
fixate on fixing. Like this idea of like I need to love myself before I can love someone else. And I kind of start to feel like a lot of that is not true.
Yeah.
That we learn to love in the messiness of relationship. We
Yep.
learn to go out there in the messiness of falling on our face in front of people.
Yep.
Like it's not that we get to go in this cave, and magically become this perfect thing and then be like, I'm ready for my close up.
Right.
Come now and like a Disney movie and all the little animals come and they throw flowers, it's like it's not quite like that. It's
Right.
not, and I know in my own journey I've even had these moments of looking to some of my heroes, right? Or some of these icons like a Beyonce in our world, right? And it's like, wow, she did this thing. She released this, this visual album and she did something like that's like, wow. And it doesn't stop.
Right.
Right? It doesn't stop. You continue becoming.
Yeah.
You continue like with, okay, what is the next expression of myself?
Mm.
What is the next thing that like I am feeling called to share?
Mm.
And there's no point where we just arrive and then we're done.
Yeah, we'll be off the planet at that point, I believe.
And that's even arguable.
When we're
Like
done,
maybe even then we have some other stuff
well,
that,
that's the next, yeah, the next level.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm, kind of coming from this realm of I help people with marketing and branding. And sometimes we think of our brand as this like fixed thing, right? That it's like, okay, I got my brand kit and my colors, and now I'm going to make this beautiful aesthetic, social media, and like I'm done. And like, but that's actually not true. And it's the opposite of what I teach is that our personal brand is actually our public becoming.
Yeah. Truer words were never spoken.
Just gonna like keep on developing, keep on.
Especially right now.
Hmm.
You know, not that I necessarily want to bring in the conversation of AI. And
Hmm.
I think it's so vital that the humanity of our becoming continues to be a story that we tell
Yeah,
in tandem
yeah,
with AI.
absolutely. Absolutely, and that is where the essence is. Like that's where the actual power is. And we have an opportunity to remember and reclaim that, right? And it's not that the reclamation is not that, oh, I had a makeover and now I look better and I'm prettier and that's, it's like, no, the reclamation is like, there are parts of me that are always going to be afraid, and I'm going to embrace them and keep going.
Yep.
And it's maybe the reclamation is that embracing of
Yeah.
like, these things that I normally would want to fix. What if I just loved on them, loved on
Mm,
the one inside of me who's afraid, loved on the one inside of me who feels left out, loved on the one inside of me who's jealous, like all of the things we're not supposed to be.
right. 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 That it's, yeah, that it's shameful to have.
Exactly. And that's what I feel in Every Day I'm Brave is it's a reclamation of shame.
Mm, hmm.
Because in the beginning of the book, you're talking about this marriage and this relationship you were in where your partner, kind of traveled and did things that like felt brave, like sort of like Tom Cruise style, like, you know,
Right. Right. Yeah. He's doing all this cool stuff out there in the world. And I'm, stuck at
right,
home twiddling my thumbs and because I'm not brave.
right. I can feel that rage, just like, because what are you doing at home? You're raising children. You're showing up as an educator. You're showing up for people with your whole heart, your full presence. And that is so fucking brave. It is so brave to show up for people. It is so brave to raise children. That's the highest stakes game. Okay.
Right.
Anyone who's listening, children, that is a scary thing.
Right. Yeah. Put me
You
in
know,
charge.
they're out there.
They're
They can
up.
do themselves. So I love that narrative here too, because it feels, like a feminine reclamation of courage
Hmm.
and this rewriting of a cultural narrative around what bravery looks like in action.
Yeah. 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 Thank you. Yeah. That it was that moment, that I speak to in the introduction or that, where I realized there really is this spectrum and what's brave for one person isn't, isn't the same bravery that another person needs. And your own, like my brave one day looks very different than my brave on a different day
Yeah.
because it's the capacity at which we have to show up,
Right.
which, shifts for all sorts of reasons.
Hmm.
And so not comparing ourselves to other people and not comparing what we were able to do one day to what we can or can't do the next.
Yeah.
Because it's ever changing. We are constantly in evolution.
Amen. Well, you've just given so many gems in this conversation. I just feel like whomever is listening to this, you're welcome. Like really just so many gems and such a beautiful, open honesty that is this is the new, like, you really are a face of the new courage. It's showing up while you're still showing up. It's not trying to be the perfection, the authority. It's actually just showing up. That's it. It's just showing up.
That's
It's
it.
just showing up and having some self accountability, some self awareness,
Mm-hmm.
and, and the desire to be in communion with life.
Yeah.
And little by little, right? And like breakfast is one set of thoughts and lunch is a different reality, and to also appreciate that within ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
that we are always changing For all you moms out there, right? We know that as parents. We watch these little people
Change
constantly.
before our eyes. Yeah.
It's psychedelic, it's really wild. So to keep that, I just read a quote by like Aldous Huxley that's like, yes, to maintain genius as an adult, it's important to maintain the the view of the child, right? That like I don't expect to be the same.
Right.
I expect that I'm
Goodness.
going to change. I
Right.
expect that I'm going to change, right? And it's a different kind of legacy and
Mm.
maybe one that feels a lot more honest and juicier and authentic and organic
Yes.
to actually create.
Hmm.
If you have not purchased Every Day I'm Brave, get thee. We're gonna
To the interwebs.
thee to the interwebs. It's on the interwebs. Is it?
www.everydayimbrave.com.
There you go. You can
There you
buy
go.
it directly. That's the best way to get it.
Yes.
Um, you can find Renee, reneezukin.com. She's out there in social media land. Renee Zukin, the one and only. She's got a blue check mark. She's been verified. She's the real deal. Okay. She is the one. Um, and follow her, follow this incredible woman for a better life. You're going to have a better life just following her on social media. And you're going to have a better life by reading this book.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so is there one little something you'd like to offer for anyone who's listening right now? And we've gotten to cover so much.
Mm.
Maybe just tell me, because I'm gonna selfishly ask the question because one day
Okay.
it's a book. Just how did writing this book
Mm.
change you?
How did writing this book change me? I will tell you, and I'm sure you've heard it too, that the writing of the book was also a healing practice for me. Uh, I was able to see and observe different challenges, learnings, wins from a totally new perspective. I mean, one of the things that I've always, teach in my groups and things too, is that the writing, journaling, book writing, whatever it is, allows you to get that eagle eye perspective of whatever is kind of jumbled up in here because it's tangible, it's outside of you. And then you can maneuver it and manipulate it and turn it into, right, the narrative that you want to be living.
Yes.
So it's a healing practice. I've shown up in ways that I never envisioned were possible. And I'm grateful for it.
Wow. Well, thank you for taking on the initiation of becoming a published author. And thank you so much for meeting us on the other side and sharing this time with me today. I really hope that this moment helps someone out there get a little more free
Yeah.
with freedom and love.